Hi, and welcome to Pathfinder Mastermind. My name is Wendy Rosenthal. I'm here with my fellow Pathfinder, Rachel Madar. How are you today, Rachel?
I'm great, and I'm always happy to join you in our session and our talk. Thank you.
I agree. I love it. Rachel and I are spiritual business coaches. We work with people all across the spectrum of business, from entrepreneur to CEO, helping them to infuse spirituality into their business life. We have a very strong belief that as your spiritual IQ goes up, so does your success in business and your fulfillment in personal life. So we're here to help people bridge that gap. We come to you whenever we feel like it to talk about topics that show how you can infuse spirituality into your business. Oftentimes, we are sharing concepts that come up in some of the sessions that we have, and we hope that you'll find this conversation and the tips that we give you at the end of every one of our sessions useful. And so we thank you for being here. So today we're starting off with a concept that I think every single self-help or anybody who talks about self-help, Rachel, is talking about this. It's not a new topic. It's about self-doubt. I think I find this happens a lot in our clients that are entrepreneurs, right?
Right.
But it happens at every level. Self-doubt meaning, you come up with an idea or you start a business and you're like, I can do this. I've got this. It's a great idea. I'm going to make it happen. And then somewhere along the way, you start to question, am I doing the right thing? Have I made the wrong decisions? I'm a terrible person. I've heard it all. What about you?
Um, yeah, it's like recently, this is what we keep getting from our clients that, they started this year with excitement, even regardless of the pandemic, regardless of what's going on. They broke through that with great ideas of how they can manifest themselves, how they can manifest different projects. Um, Very excited. And then in the last couple of weeks or so, we keep hearing yeah, other people can make it happen, but I'm not sure I can make it happen. And they truly lost some certainty within themselves that they
Exactly.
can follow through, that they can really succeed in manifesting whatever the dreams that they have. And it's not just for business; it's like any dreams that they set their mind to.
Yeah, I was
And we
going to
want to,
say,
yeah,
it's not just for business, but it's also not just for
right,
business like entrepreneurs that maybe have an
right.
idea and they're getting stuck. I mean, this is for those of us who want to move up in our careers, who want to ask for more money, who want to um, pivot into a different career and try something new. Um, it just, yes, it's a part of life. I think, we can safely say it. That's why I was saying it kind of comes up across any transformational work, therapy, whatever it is. It's a big part of it. So what we're trying to do in this conversation is look at it from a spiritual perspective, but also see how what it really does to us in business and how we have some ideas about how you can shift it. And the reality of it is that I think self-doubt is a part of human nature.
Mm-hmm.
So it isn't about saying you can get rid of self-doubt, and never have it. Because I've found also, Rachel, I don't know about you, but like literally the most successful people I've ever met, you see it. They have self-doubt all the time, right? It just manifests itself in different
Yeah,
ways.
yeah. And when we speak about self-doubts, it's like translated into fears that are coming up, and certain limitation blockages that are coming up, different belief system from childhood, from teenagehood, from different experiences that we experience, and they say, okay, we keep. One of the conversation I had with someone yesterday was about creating a new business of her. And but she told me something interesting. She told me, yeah, but I always have this fear that just keep coming up in my life, fear of failure. And I was telling her, if I may say, I think that the fear that you have is fear of success.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of us are afraid to succeed because failing, we already been through that. Whether we went into school, high school, we may have failed some tests. Later on in life, we may have failed in a way like making the wrong decision at that time for us. And in businesses, and this is what it's about: taking risks. Taking risk, we'll talk about it in a separate, in a different
I was gonna say there's another one,
conversation.
and yeah, there's even more than what you said that we should talk about in other ones. But I hear
Yeah,
what you're saying. You know, it's one of those things where self-doubt is kind of a almost sometimes like an underlying, like, I don't know, it's like always there, right? It's
it
just
will.
waiting to be
It will
like
always
tapped
be
into.
there because imagine yourself that someone is literally like as we really prepared ourselves to climb in a certain mountain.
Hmm.
We really eat well for years. We exercise. We fit. We getting ready for this mission of climbing this mountain, and we have all the gear ready. We have all the equipment ready, and we're starting.
Yeah.
And we walk in and we decide, and even we choose a specific date that is beautiful weather, that everything is set up for us, and we're just like literally starting to climb. As we
Yeah.
climbing, we constantly having this thought. It's a natural thought that's coming up to us. Will I really get to the top or not? Will I really get there? And then what happened? The moment this thought coming up, we're like glitching, look,
Right.
and then we're starting again, and we're glitching, we're starting again. So the idea is like, imagine yourself that you literally climbing to the top and you sticking the flag in the top of this mountain. How does it feel? Most of us like cannot even imagine that we're literally doing this.
Right.
So this is like when we're speaking about self-doubt, as you climb in this mountain, before you stick in this flag on the top and make sure that you feel I succeeded.
Right.
And you can definitely make it happen, right?
Well, you know, it's so true. And as you're talking about it, I think that this whole concept goes into is part of another concept that we've talked about that I want to connect it to before we get into kind of the spiritual reasons and what are some of our recommendations. And that is it's part of the process. We have talked about process. It's core to what our belief system is that everything has a process, and that process has stages that we go through no matter what, right?
Right.
And if you know, we've talked about it, so you might want to go back and check out one of our earlier episodes. I think it was number 3 or 4 where we talked about it. And self-doubt is in that, considered part of that kind of stage 3, right? Of the process of anything that's going on. Stage 3 is that you've gotten to this point where things are closer to maybe manifesting. Like you're saying, you're kind of half up the mountain, right? And
Right.
then it's a really steep part of the mountain, and it's like it's a barrier, or something is obstructing you, or there's a challenge you have to face. And that's where self-doubt starts to rear its ugly head. It's in that kind of stage 3 of this bigger process. And we've talked about in the past how, you know, while stage 3 is probably the hardest part of the process, it's the most rewarding. And this is one of the reasons, right? Because this is where that that um, that kind of internal obstructionist, right? That little voice that says you can't do it, you can't do it, comes in. And why, when you are able to overcome it, that's when things start to flow through, right?
And there's a reason. There's a reason why, spiritually speaking, there is a reason why doubt is coming up in
Tell
our
me, I
life.
want to know. I don't like it.
The reason that it's coming up is because, from the universe perspective, wanted to make sure that you going through your process and just like going back and to re-choose the project, re-choose the business, re-choose yourself. Without the doubt, we'll not be able to go through the process and looking back and see, did I choose the right product? Did I choose the right business? Did I choose myself within that? What was my original agenda?
it's so interesting because you kind of ask yourself, why is that important? Why is making that a choice important? And what we talk to our clients about is the fact that, desire, and this is a whole nother show too, about how desire drives everything. And, sometimes our original idea or desire for something is, I don't want to say tainted, but it's driven by maybe external things,
Right.
right?
Right.
So you, like, for example, I have to pay my bills, so I'll just take any job. And maybe there's a good reason for that. But what the universe sees then is that you're not happy in just the any other job. So it's pushing you to be able to generate money with something that you really might want to love, that you might love. So it's getting to that point where it's almost like without that self-doubt, without that hurdle, without that something, then we don't stop to go back
Exactly.
and take a look at what our real intention was, our real desire was, right? We
And,
get
and
lost.
exactly. And it's also, I really like the concept of rechoosing yourself, because within that, like a lot of times in many areas in our life, and I'm sure that everyone that listens to us can agree that in so many areas in our life, we kind of like or losing ourselves or, acting as pleasing others for whatever reason. So maybe the choice of this particular project, business, um, partner, whatever it might be, come from a place of like really please that particular person, doing that, what validating who I am if I will be connected to this particular business, attachment to a certain status quo, attachment to the particular result. And all this is basically what the external thing you shared right now.
Right.
And we need to revisit it and re-choose again. And if your reasons to create this project or to create this business were the right reasons, okay, so re-choose them again and follow through and just remind yourself what
Right, or whatever, or to go for a promotion or to do a job change, whatever it is.
Right.
The point is that we're saying that self-doubt has actually a very distinct and positive purpose if you are recognizing when it's happening and you're doing something about it. Also,
and not to drag it for so long.
right,
Literally, we know people that dragging it for years.
right,
This stage, this third stage, they dragging it for years, those doubts. So what they do, they go and work in other places, or they remain in the same position at work that they are at, or remaining in whatever position that you are in any areas in your life and do not move.
exactly.
So we sometimes really stuck in that place.
And then it goes off into a kind of a victim mentality of, oh, I have to stay here now. Like
Right.
Like then it becomes a whole other thing, which is another conversation.
And you can, and another thing that can show you that you're stuck in this position is like when you hear yourself complaining. If you complain about different things, if you start to complain about other people or yourself or whatever it is, complaining, it's a completely red lead that is completely red flag that is kind of whoop. You're in that third stage that can be stuck for years, and we want to get out of it.
Exactly.
So practically.
Wait, before we go practical, sorry,
Cool.
there's just one more thing that I think is interesting, that self-doubt, how it manifests. Look, we live in I often share with my clients like that the world is like a soccer field or a football field, right? It's a game in a way. And we have parameters that are set up in this world. And this also helps when you imagine it for business, by the way. I use it all the time. So if you can imagine, one of the parameters or one of the aspects of this field that we are in is there's time. Time is existing in this space. And a lot of times what happens and why self-doubt gets brought up is because sometimes the distance, the time between the inception of the thought or the idea for the business or whatever it is, it doesn't happen instantaneously, even though in the universe, by the way, when that comes up and you express a desire for it, the universe gives it to you right then.
Exactly.
Right. But there's a distance between the thought and something happening. And so
Yeah.
what we end up doing is we end up blaming ourselves for the distance that is that time, right? That is equated to time. So if it's an idea that we had and it's 3 years later and I still haven't gotten the promotion, it must be me. I must be doing something wrong. I must not be doing everything that I'm supposed to be doing. And therefore, that's how I allow that self-doubt to start to manifest. Okay.
And it's such a good point. It's such a good point because, and I know you don't like me to say it, but I describe the distance between the thought to the manifestation is a sort of laziness. Laziness of really acting towards my desires and my need to manifest my need and desire. So it's like, are you position yourself at number one in your life or not? Like, where's your position? How do you see yourself? And more than that, what's the opposite of laziness? It's just to do. And I know it's very difficult. It's not just like go and do. We all face in the same situation. It's not like we're saying that we're telling you something that we are not facing. It just small actions can make it happen. But shortly we'll talk even more about this, right?
Right. And I the reason I don't like laziness, and I think it's great when we get into these disagreements, because you could be doing a lot, right? It's not about in some ways it isn't about doing, because look, if you're building a building, sometimes it's going to take 5 years to get the building built, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because physically that's how long it takes. So the laziness is not about always physical doing or things that you can control. That's why Rachel and I debate the term. The necessarily. Oh, she's back. Rachel,
Oh,
you
I'm
froze
here.
for a
You
minute.
froze to me too, but we
Oh,
are
it's
here.
so interesting. I wonder what came out.
As long as everyone heard what you had to say, it's perfect.
Well, I don't know if you did or not, because from on my end it looked like I was talking. So sorry if this got confused. We'll kind of revisit it very quickly. The idea is that laziness isn't necessarily saying you aren't doing something. There is just in this physical world, there is time. We are the subject of time. So if in the metaphysical world you have already manifested, it sometimes takes time for that to trickle into our world. What can impact time is what Rachel is saying, could be our desire. How big is our desire?
Right.
And how much do we share? How are we taking action every day? So it's kind of like a metaphysical laziness in a way that is stopping that activation. But it's just important to remember that that's in that time, in that space that's created by time. That's where self-doubt comes in. And again, as a spiritual tool, if we look at it as, if we can see it that way and say, oh, self-doubt, okay, let me first take a minute and go, how long has this been taking me? And is that where it's coming from? Then we can do something about it. So now let's get to some of the ideas that we have shared with our clients that we use, now that you have a little bit of understanding about what self-doubt spiritually is.
Right.
Okay, Rachel, you go first.
The way I see, like whenever we speak about manifesting ideas or dreams, whether it's for business or anything, any area in our life, I always say that we cannot run away from ourselves, right? We cannot run away from who we are and who we are not. So I have few questions that
tells your clients to ask when they get into.
Yeah. and I wanted to have I have some questions that I would like for you to write down to yourself and take your 20 minutes, 30 minutes to answer them. Okay, so the first question is who am I? Who am I? In a very positive way, to write down who am I. The second question, and I hope that you
Okay, to
see
answer
me.
these questions, let's hope that Rachel comes.
Yeah, I'm there. I'm talking.
So Rachel's frozen.
No, I'm I'm here. I hope that you see me. Okay. Okay. Okay, so I think that people can see me. So the questions that I wanted to. Okay, we are back.
We are
Okay.
back.
No, because the comment says that people saw me, so I think maybe this is the thing. Okay, so I'm just
So
again,
just recap the.
I'm recapping. Basically, the way I look at it is like spiritually, we need to go and ask ourselves some question to get our strength back. The first question is, who am I? So if you can answer to yourself, who are you? The way you know yourself, the attributes, the characteristic, the courage that you obtain after going through different experiences in your life, but only write positive things. Who am I? Okay. The second question that I would like for you to answer: what is the most frighten you? What are your fears that really relate maybe to this particular business? Maybe there are other fears in your life that come and are there that they need to be addressed, and maybe that fear impacting your process here of manifestation. What stops you? Okay, what stops you, and what do you want it to achieve in this project? And what do you want to achieve is bring me to Wendy, because it goes to the another practical tool that Wendy has to share with you.
So basically, as Rachel was saying, the opposite of lazy is action, right? And even metaphysically, lazy requires some action. And one of the things that we have found with our clients is sometimes people feel like they have to take big action. Like I have to do something crazy. And then that becomes almost inaction in itself, because then it becomes overwhelming. So what we recommend is really focusing on taking small actions.
Right.
Every day. Do something, whether it's you're looking for a new job, so every day go find one job that you can apply for. You want to talk to your boss about a raise. So if you're struggling with that because you don't know how to present it to them, then take every day, write a sentence about why you should get the raise. If it's in your business and you're an entrepreneur and you're starting off and you're feeling stuck and frustrated, do a small action. Go back to your original business plan. Go back to basics.
And this is the third tip.
Third tip.
Go back to the original business plan, to the original idea, revisit it. See what are your agendas that were there. Maybe there's something that needs to be changed. Maybe you have changed, that it needs to be adjusted to where you are now or not, right?
Exactly. Also to, again, so small actions is super important, and going back to basics is basics again, not just if you have a business plan, going back to your original business plan, it can be going back to basics. Why did you choose the job that you're in now anyway? Was it for money? Was it because you were passionate about it? If it's looking at your business, then tell me, why do you want to why did you like that business in the first place? Where did the idea come from? So in anything that you're doing, you can always go back to the basics. Okay.
Right.
So the tips we have for you are, just to be clear, because we had so much technical difficulties this session.
And it's okay.
Is,
this is life.
Mhm.
In life, we always have technical difficulties, and we need to learn to move forward with that. And it's okay.
Exactly.
All good.
So tip number 1 is to ask the 4 questions. Rachel, can you quickly review the 4 questions?
Yes, and I also posted it for all of you. So the first question is, who am I? Writing it in a positive way. What are my fears? What stops me? And what do I want to achieve?
Great. The second thing is to take action. So look around you, see where you can do small actions. Don't worry about the big ones. The small ones will pile up to be big ones. And the third tip is to go back to basics. Whatever it is that started you, or whatever it is that you're trying to achieve, go back to the original seed. Go back to your business plan. Go back to why you took the job that you're in the first place. Go back to why you like the career that you're in, or maybe didn't like the career that you're in. Always going back to the basics helps unstick thinking, and also to reignite that feeling of, I can do it. I know I'm the right person for this job. I am able and capable of, creating this business or this product. Helps you get over that next hurdle on the mountain.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly. And you will be able to succeed at the end of the day, or end of a period of time, to really stick this flag on top of the mountain.
And we also, recommend that if you need help with it, that you talk to somebody. Pathfinder 1-to-1 is here, but there are other coaches that can help you unstick yourself. And the point is that from our perspective, our mission in life is to help people infuse spirituality into business so that they see these things and are able to do it.
Absolutely.
So if you are interested in talking to us or need some help getting unstuck, you can find us at pathfinder1to1.com. That's Pathfinder, the number 1, TO, the number 1.com. We have lots of different services that can help you with increasing your self-worth and helping you identify where you are in the process. Yes. You can also find us on Facebook at Pathfinder 1-to-1 and on Instagram at Pathfinder 1-to-1. And on all of your favorite podcast platforms. Yes. Rachel, thank you so much. Thank you, everybody who's watching.
Thank you, everyone.
Yeah, for hanging in with us today on with our technical issues. And we will be back sometime soon with more thoughts on infusing spirituality in business. Have a great day.
You too. Thank you.